Okay, hey y'all. So, continuing with what we were doing, hide this, and I'm going to try to get away from the screen, especially since it just wants to randomly paste that number line wherever it wants to. Put a dot there, let's see if it puts it near it. Oh, okay. That's not right. Let me stop that. It's because I just posted, I didn't post, but I uploaded the last video, which was this one. I do have a blank. Here we go. Try to work smarter, not harder, y'all. Pretty sure that copies it, but I thought that would go away. Let's move, people. Here we go. And let me kind of look like it there. Paste it. Gonna go wherever it wants. Okay, so let's do it. Now, this question. I have that number line so we can draw on our number line because that will be necessary in the homework and on the exam. So our actual question, just says this. It says x is less than or equal to 7. On the homework, it would say to, write this inequality. That's an inequality because it has an inequality symbol. It would say write this inequality as an interval notation and to graph it. So it kind of tells you that you're going to do the interval notation first, and then from there graph it. Y'all, the way it makes the most sense to me in my mind is to graph it first, and then I'm going to show y'all how the data that's on your number line is literally how you write your interval notation. So let me go ahead and do that for you. It says x is less than 7. Less than or equal to 7. I know for a fact that because I have that straight line underneath the less than, it means it can also equal 7. So that means I use a bracket. Now, the question is my bracket going to open to the right side or is it going to open like to the left side? What is it going to include? What values is it including? It says x is less than or equal to 7. That less than tells me that the x can take on the values smaller than 7. That's to the left of 7. So my bracket opens up to the left. That was supposed to be an arrow. My bracket opens up to the left. Okay? So now as far as me actually having my line and what I'm going to draw and what it includes, it doesn't tell me it necessarily stops anywhere or that it's bounded by another value, which would mean that it is going to just go left forever. Now, remember I'd said if you look at 0 on the number line and you consider all the values to the left of 0, if something continues to go that direction to the left forever without stopping, what it's doing is it's going towards negative infinity, right? And then didn't I say something else that was super important? When we're talking about negative infinity and infinity, you can never equal those, which means we would have, let me do that a little bit better, which means we would have a parenthesis, correct? Now, y'all, I literally have everything I need on my number line to write it in interval notation. I'm going to read it like you would a book from left to right. And whenever I come across a symbol or a value, I'm going to write that symbol and that value. So reading from left to right, the first symbol I come to, it's not the arrow, y'all. The arrow is just letting me know it goes on forever, right? The first mathematical symbol I come to is a parenthesis. And then I get a value, which is my negative infinity. You always put a comma right here, okay? There's going to be two different values. You separate them with a comma. Now, just continue to read this number line to the right. I've got, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got all this going on. I stop where my next mathematical symbol is, which is a bracket. And that bracket is on the value 7. You write your value and then your symbol. So my interval notation will be written symbol, value, comma, value, symbol. Symbol, value, comma, value, symbol. Pulled literally from parenthesis, parenthesis. First thing I ran into. Negative infinity, negative infinity. Second thing I ran into. A bracket on the number 7. A bracket on the number 7. Just don't make the mistake and think that it would be like this. That is so incorrect. Okay, that actually doesn't even have a value right here where it should be, because that 7 needs to go there. Okay, so hopefully that made some sense. Okay, so that was it, y'all. It told me to write it in interval notation, and it told me to graph it. I did both of those things. Let's get away. Okay. This question, what it asked me is, did I number that other one? It really doesn't matter, honestly. I did. I numbered it 1. So we will number this one 2. And this one has the inequality x greater than 11. So this is telling me that all of the values of x can be greater than 11. Can it equal 11? No, it can't equal 11. And it can't equal 11. Oh, my number line's not going to work for this problem, y'all. It can't equal 11 because this is telling me it's strictly greater than 11. So I really thought all of them were going to be okay. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so it tells me that my x value can be all of the values greater than 11. Greater than means that the numbers are getting larger, which would mean they're going to fall on the right-hand side of that value. And the value we're concerned with, that we're looking at, is 11. Greater than also means because it can't equal, I use a parenthesis. And because it's a parenthesis and it's going to include the larger values, do you see how it opens to the right? And then there's my arrow. That just tells me it goes on and on and on forever, right? Now, what did I say about the values that are to the right of 0? That means that they approach infinity. We can't ever equal infinity, so there would always be, let me take my watch off. It's actually it's scratching me really bad. I keep itching my wrist. That hurts. Sorry. Okay, we can't equal infinity, which means we would use our parenthesis. And so we would already now have everything we need to write our interval notation. I know that our interval notation, this is saying all the values of x, right, are greater than 0. It's greater than 0, greater than 11. I need my first symbol I run into, which is the parenthesis on 11, the value 11, my comma. My next value is infinity. And then always with infinities, I use parentheses. Okay, so I want to show y'all something. This says that my x values are greater than 11 and that they can't equal 11 because that's a parenthesis. This says that my x values are greater than 11. That whole thing, this whole interval notation says that my x values are greater than 11, and because there's a parenthesis on 11, I know it can't equal 11. Okay, y'all. It always goes to the right. Moving right along. Question trace. We have x greater than 11. That's one we just did. Now let's do -4 less than, thanks computer. -4 less than x less than or equal to 5. So this should already look different because what we've been dealing with is really just like the left-hand side of this or the right-hand side of this. We haven't had an x in between two inequality symbols. Excuse me. And we haven't graphed one like this. Well, it's okay. I mean, if you think about it, I know that I'm going to have an inequality symbol wherever I have a value, and the parentheses will be for less thans and greater thans. Brackets are for less thans or equal to, and greater thans or equal to. And so we just kind of need to read it accordingly. I'm going to actually zoom in, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to start by reading this inequality. And the way I'm going to start it is I'm going to read it as x is greater than -4 and x is less than or equal to 5. Do you see how each time I started with my x, it doesn't make sense to read an inequality with the symbols like a book. It's proper. You can do it. It's not a problem. As far as graphing it, I really am more concerned about the values of my x, and I feel like starting with my x and reading it to the left, and then starting with my x and reading it to the right, it just seems easier. It can be read -4 less than x less than or equal to 5, but that doesn't tell me as much, I don't think. So I'm actually going to read it again, and each time I'm going to go ahead and graph something, okay? So I would read this as x is greater than -4. Go to my -4. Greater than means parenthesis. Greater than also means it's going to open to the right. So greater than -4. Do you see that? And then let me read it again. X is less than or equal to 5. Less than or equal to means a bracket. Less than also means that it's the values to the left. So less than or equal to 5. These values here are the only values that my x can take on. Okay? So I literally, again, have exactly what I need to write it in interval notation. Equal. Look at this. Symbol on this value, comma. What's my next symbol? The bracket, right? What is it on? Value 5 symbol. That's it. Now, this is a visual representation that my x values is in between -4 and 5. This is an inequality because it has inequality symbols, and it states that my x is in between -4 and 5. It cannot equal -4, but yes, it can equal -5. This is interval notation that tells me my x is in between -4 and 5. It can't equal -4, but yes, it can equal 5. Do you see how they're all pretty much like the same thing? It's just, different ways of representing it. Giving up on where it goes. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do this one right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. It's actually like 11 p.m. So what I'll do is I will pick up with 1, 2, 3. I think there's like 5 more problems left to finish 10.6. And they are similar, but we're going to actually start solving the inequalities kind of like we would an equation, and then we'll be able to do what we've been doing. So let's go ahead and do it. This is a kind of a very like low level difficulty introduction to solving an inequality. And then from this point on, they do get a little bit more involved. Okay, so I think we were on 4. Don't know what problem we were on. This one says x minus 2 is greater than or equal to a negative 8. So do you notice how we don't just have x inequality symbol value, right? We have x a value, like something going on, an inequality symbol, and another value. Well, similar to solving our equations where we would combine like terms, you have that same train of thought with these. We need to combine our equations, we need to combine our like terms so that we can solve this inequality. That is a negative 2 next to my x, and I just want x, so what I do is the inverse, which is a positive 2. That makes that cancel. On the left-hand side, I just have x greater than or equal to. If you look at the right-hand side, my signs are different, so I would subtract and keep the sign of the larger. This is now the inequality that I can write in interval notation. Before I write it in interval notation, I'm actually going to graph it first. And the way I would graph that is I know that I'm at the value negative 6. Looking at my inequality symbol, it tells me that my x values are greater than or equal to. Greater than meaning they're on the right-hand side of negative 6. So, and because it can equal, I'm at a bracket. So I've got a bracket. I don't really like that. Got a bracket on negative 6, and it doesn't tell me another value. So that means I imply it goes on and on and on forever. Because it's going on forever in the positive direction, that means that my value can approach infinity. You can never equal infinity. That means you use your parenthesis. So now we have everything that we need to be able to graph. No, we already just graphed, sorry. Now we have everything we need to be able to write our answer in interval notation. So we do symbol, value, comma, value, symbol. Now, if you look at the very first thing you get to, it's a bracket. So we write our bracket. And then the value that that's on is a negative 6. You do your comma. And then it never told me it ended anywhere. It goes on forever in the positive direction. So my value is a positive infinity. And then the next symbol I would write would be my parenthesis, because you can't actually equal infinity. And so that is the interval notation for this problem. And again, this, and this are all equivalent, and they all say the exact same thing. Okay, actually, I think I may just keep on recording because I'm not tired. If y'all have any questions, make sure you let me know, okay? Thanks, y'all. Bye.